Morning. I really apologise for my appearance. Sorry, I haven't even brushed my hair. It's 6:30 in the morning. The kids are still asleep. Bradley's still asleep. I've had about 4 or 5 hours sleep in total. Up every hour on the hour as usual. Yeah, I went up at 2 finally, I think, but I had been up. I had to sleep a little bit before that, but I was up between 10 and 2. And I'll tell you why. I have had a crazy few days, and it's all very interesting actually, because it's like this extra challenge to my blissful birthing course that I'm doing, and an extra challenge basically just as a woman in general about empowerment and surrendering to life and trusting in life and just the flow of it and why things come along. So basically, to cut a long story short, 3 days ago I went for my final scan, and actually only second scan, we don't really scan much, of the baby, just to make sure that the placenta's out of the way of the birth canal so that I can have a home birth safely. Because as I mentioned in my previous video, if the placenta is kind of in the way, then obviously that's the C-section situation, because you can't birth the baby safely, you'd both die. So anyway, turned out with great, placentas high and out of the way, baby's looking fantastic. So we were buzzing, we came away going, this is awesome, we're so lucky, we're so blessed to have a fifth one that's, everything's tickety boo, and home birth is a yay. But then the doctor kind of just mentioned at the end, the consultant, oh, can you do a blood test? I say another, I haven't even done one since I've been here, which he was quite shocked by. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point really, I would have done a few in England by now, but no I haven't, but sure, I'll take a blood test. I'm really confident that, I don't have HIV and I don't have hepatitis B, but he basically just wanted one, just make sure that if I did for some reason have to go into hospital, they had everything and I wouldn't get injected with all kinds of stuff. So I went to a private clinic, paid $100, got my test results within a few hours, and turns out that my platelet levels and my hemoglobin levels are much lower than what is the ideal for a home birth situation. And he kind of freaked out, and he was like, this is no longer a low risk birth, this is a high risk birth, a high risk pregnancy, you need to be in hospital. Which you can imagine freaked me out, because I don't think I'd be so bad if it was England, because I had Luca, our first baby, in an English hospital, and we're so lovely there, and we're so respectful of the women, and you've got birthing from home centres, and they pretty much let you do what you like. Very open-minded. But here, birth is incredibly medicalised, and from what I've heard, you literally don't get a choice. The minute you enter their doors, you're in their system. So you have to lie in whatever position they decide. If they decide you're having a C-section, you're having one. If they decide your husband can't be in the room, you can't. If they want to take your baby away, they can. They'll inject your baby with whatever they want when it's born. You don't have a say legally in it, because it's the law here. In fact, it's so frightening here that if you don't vaccinate your child for whatever reason, someone from another authority thing will turn up and try and take your child away and lock you up in prison. So it's like, whoa, The Handmaid's Tale in the making, Big Brother in the making, my worst nightmare in the making, because obviously I want to protect my baby. I do not want to enter that system. I want to make sure my birth is relaxed as possible, and that is not the environment for me, or frankly for anyone, to have a baby. So yeah, but I was facing that, or the doctor saying, or you'll potentially hemorrhage to death and die at home, both of you, because I could pass on this bad platelet history to the baby as well. Because they don't know why my platelets are so low. Basically, there could be all kinds of different reasons. I think there's 3 main reasons. There could be something like an autoimmune disease going on, or cancer, or something like that, which I'm very confident isn't the case. But if it were the case, that would be depleting the baby's platelet result if it was an autoimmune disease, because I'd also be attacking the baby's platelet levels, and every day that goes by, the baby's platelet levels will be going further and further down. And by the way, sorry, I don't know if I've explained myself properly. Platelets are responsible for clotting the blood. So the gynecologist's concern is, if I bleed post-birth, which I hardly have any blood loss after birth so far with my last 4, to the point where people were astounded how little blood loss I had. But anyway, if I were to bleed after the placenta's born, because obviously when the placenta comes away from the womb, it's a scar. Yeah, if I were to bleed, I wouldn't be clotting very well. And because I've got low hemoglobin levels as well, that adds to the complications of it. So therein lies the problem, that I wouldn't have time to get to a hospital to get a blood transfusion or a platelet transfusion, because I think you can hemorrhage within sort of 10 minutes and be dead, whereas I'm a good hour from a hospital. So there's my conundrum. So anyway, the other reasons you would have a platelet issue weren't just autoimmune or cancer. It was some underlying virus that the mother's carrying, which again I'm confident I don't have. And very few people talk about the fact that you're vegan, could be vegan, and that your B12 levels and folic acid levels are too low. Obviously, in my case, I think that's what it is, and iron. So I've honed in on that because this is my first vegan pregnancy. I have been really lax taking supplements because I believe food is your best medicine, and I don't like taking supplements, and I'm forgetful because I've got the 4 kids, and I feel great, you know. I've got so much energy. I don't feel anemic, which I am now, slightly. I'm not like crazy anemic. My reading's 8.9, and it should be between 11.5 and 15.5. But yeah, I feel wonderful. You know, I'm fitter than most of them, coming up the stairs here and up and down the stairs and running around after the kids. And you know, I've hardly put any weight on this time. I've probably put on 5.5 kilos versus 10. I think that's really to the reflux, thanks to the reflux, because I suffered so badly from that. I didn't eat as much dinner at night. But anyway, because I feel fit as a fiddle, this has come as a real shock. But I was up, as you can imagine, researching all of last night and all of yesterday during the day when I found out what happened. And I'm pretty confident that I don't have an autoimmune disease or cancer or some deep-seated weird virus, just because based on the way that I feel and look. I'm pretty confident it's an iron deficiency because I haven't been taking my supplements. And for that, I feel really silly. I did listen to my midwife here as well, who said don't bother taking iron supplements, which I shouldn't have done. I also should have been thinking, why haven't I done a blood test sooner? But I've just got caught up in life because, again, the midwife claims she told me to do it. But I don't recall that conversation, and she never ever followed me up on it, which I think if it's your job as a midwife to follow a certain protocol and things at a certain stage in the pregnancy, she should have done. You know, she should have chased me up and said, oh, where are your blood works, by the way? But she didn't. So whatever, we're in this situation now. As the gynecologist said, there's no point blaming and pointing fingers, although I think I do need to have a discussion with her about it because it's really affected my trust with her. I've got to deal with what is now and just move on because this is the situation. So yesterday I thought I'd found a compromise, even though the gynecologist was against it. My compromise being that I would rent an apartment very close to one of the private hospitals, so that should I suddenly start bleeding and hemorrhaging to death, we're right there, versus we're an hour away on a really bumpy road as well. So that was my compromise. Dr. Freddie, however, wasn't happy about that because he said you need to be in the hospital so it can be administered quicker, the transfusion should it need to be, and you need a paediatrician on the team because he doesn't know how to handle the baby side of things, he just knows to handle the mummy side of things. But yeah, and apparently transferring at that stage is quite dangerous for the child, but you know, that's a risk I'm prepared to take, to be quite honest, because I just don't see it. I just don't see me bleeding out. When I cut myself, I heal. I'm not bruised, my gums aren't bleeding, my eyes aren't yellow, I don't have dark circles under my eyes, I don't feel ill, I feel great. So I'm like, The other bit of advice he had was to take some steroid injections so that if it is whatever, an autoimmune disease or something like that, that my body stops destroying the platelets in the baby. So I said, right, I'll do that. That I'm willing to do. So I've had an injection yesterday of steroids, and I'll have one again today. And oh my God, it hurt. Not the actual putting in the injection, but afterwards, the liquid that goes in. Had a proper bum cramp for about 10 minutes while I was walking around the shopping mall getting final Christmas presents. That was funny to see, sight to behold. I've also done loads of research and consulted a few natural doctors here, and I was told that if I took a combination of the B-vits, that would really help. So folic acid, B12 and B6, I believe. So we had a massive injection of that the other day, both Bradley and myself. So that should help with platelet levels in time, like a few days. I think 5 to 6 days is how long it takes for platelets to renew. So I've got that just about. I've got a week until the due date. So I'm like, please stay in there, little one. It's full moon and everyone's like saying, oh, it will come because of the pull of the moon, magnetic pull. But I'm like, God, no, just stay in there, give us some time. So I had a little chat with baby last night and just said, look, you've got to work with me here, darling. Give me some time. And also vitamin C IV infusions are supposed to greatly help with your platelet levels as well. So I'm hoping to book that in and go daily, because I think I need over 3 grams every day high dosage to get that to happen, especially given my time constraints. But that's advice I've sought outside of that, and obviously I've upped my iron levels like crazy through food and juicing, and yeah, I can do a whole separate video on that, and supplementing like crazy now, and just being really trying to put positive affirmations out there, because I found the more I worried about it, the more I'm going to get massively stressed. And I think the stress is worse than anything else. And who's woken up? Look, say good morning.
Hi.
Say hi, I'm Soraya.
And they on your phone?
Yeah. Yeah, you're on my phone.
Yes.
Alright, well this video's gone on for too long anyway for anyone to watch, so I will say goodbye now and continue with another one, with a sequel, when I tell you about other things like the supplements I've been taking, the foods I've been eating. Even though with a week to go the impact will be minimal, I'm just like, what the hell, what have I got to lose? I might as well do it. And it's interesting, and like I said, it's a twist on the whole thing. And I think it's actually helped me realise that as part of my course I need to have a team of people, also there as advisors, medical advisors, natural advisors, so that if you aren't in prime health, like I've arrogantly assumed I was, that you can make an educated decision rather than be forced into it in a powerless way, so that you still feel like you're making an educated, empowered decision, and that you can trust in a process and surrender to it, whatever you then choose to do with the advice you've been given. But to just be told by a consultant at the end and feel all your power drip away is horrid. So I think I will have a medical team in place to assist women if they're not in top-notch health. Okay, over and out. Sorry it's such a long video.